Now, pocket queens absolutely broke me. And you ever have one of those days where you're playing really good and then it's just like one decision that you need to make is gonna make or break it, right? And that's kind of what happened in this one. And I'll tell you what, we got some good stuff to go over though, so I want you guys to stick around to the end and kind of just stick with me here because you're gonna want to see this situation. Okay. Also want to say, if you're not in our community right now, I don't know what you're doing. You need to get in it. That's going to be in the pinned comment. You can also follow us on Instagram as well. And if you guys could tap the like on this as we're kind of making our way through, I would appreciate it. And let's do this. All right. And for the most part too, like I played pretty standard, didn't do anything too out of the ordinary. I think I bluffed a little bit to start things off here, but then we got, like I said, to a situation with queens that it is what it is. Also going to keep this one not as long today. Kind of want to just get into it. But yes, follow along with me, guys, because you're gonna want to see what we got to go over here. Anyways, I raised this up with a queen six suited. I like to mix things up. Player four is going to kick it up to the 42-50 piece, and I might have considered making this call up until what we're about to see here from player five and six. So, with that said, let's just see this right here. Now, I think player five is going to re-raise this. Yeah, he did. Now, yeah, we can't continue with the queen six suited. As much as I would like to, we just can't do it. We got to just let this go. Wouldn't make any sense for us to make this call. Then you got player six, who I think is going to re-raise this. Talk about weird, right? So you got me raising with a monster right here, queen six suited. You got player four kicking it up a little bit, and then you got player five kicking it up, and then it comes back to player six. And then he just does this. It's like, that's kind of weird. That was very weird. And I clearly picked the wrong time to raise it up with the queen six suited, clearly. All right, player four is going to get out of the way, and it's coming back to player five. And, I don't know what either of these guys has. Definitely feels like one's probably got like a mid pocket pair, maybe like queens less likely, maybe kings, maybe somebody's got aces. I think someone's definitely got an ace king in here. It feels like an ace king, but I was a little bit thrown off here when we kind of see what's going to happen here. Player five is going to make the call. We know player five is obviously in the blender here. Trying to figure out if you should make this call. Player six is basically saying he's got like aces, I guess. But he had ace king, so yeah, it's just gonna be like a split. Let's see if we would have got there on the river. Nope. All right, we would have lost with our queen six suited, but like I said, I was never playing that clearly, and it was just one of those situations, man, where it was just like an ace king versus ace king. All right, so now, yeah, so here we go. Got a jack seven, and yeah, like I think I did bluff a little bit here, but for the most part, playing pretty tight. You got to be bluffing a little bit more as you start to move up a little bit in these games, guys, just because players do get better. So you have to kind of like mix things up. You can't just play like GTO or, ABC style. You have to mix things up. And I'm not saying you have to do exactly what I do, find what works best for you and just kind of go with it. But yeah, I'm going to raise this up here. This is just a small blind, big blind kind of thing. And I was like, all right, let's just raise it. He is going to call us, I think, pretty quick too. So yeah, probably it kind of told me that maybe he has like an ace 10 type of hand or something like that. We did hit the jack on the flop, but I just checked this back, really, hoping we go to showdown here. He is going to throw something out there on the turn, which, to keep this guy honest, I am going to make a call, and we're going to, see a river card. I think he's going to bet, or he's going to put out like a 28 piece. Just going to call him. And then the river card, I think, was a blank. So that was actually not a bad card. But, if he went for a large sizing here, to me, I'm probably just going to have to let this go. Fortunately, though, he's going to give up. He's going to give up right here, which I was like, okay, cool. If you want to give up, that's fine. We're still losing to a lot of weak aces, though, which I was completely aware of. But he turned over actually a pretty monster hand that just didn't get there. So, we somehow pulled through there with the jack seven offsuit, and that's just kind of how that one went. Next couple hands here, I'm going to fold, and we're going to continue making our way through here, but like I said, guys, stick with me because we got the queens coming up, and we had a decision to make. You know, it is what it is. A lot of the time when you guys are playing, you got to understand it really just comes down to, you know, playing good, but also just making good decisions. And when you don't make good decisions, you know, things don't go your way. And this was definitely one of those where, yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. You guys got to wait for it. But anyways, 5-10 suited, cannot play this. If it was a 2-10 suited, maybe I'd play it. If we had the Doyle Brunson, maybe I would have done it. But yeah, we ain't doing it here. So just gonna let it go. Just gonna let it go, guys. We're just gonna let it go. All right, 2-4. 2-4, shut the door. Okay, 2-4, shut the door. Okay, and I think we are here. I think we made it already. And yeah, queens. Oh, I'm sorry. We got a couple more here. King 3, suited. This actually isn't a bad hand to have in the big blind. You know, I'm definitely defending with it. Also, if you look at a GTO chart, this is going to be a call. Unless there's like a re-raise. But if it's just a raise and you're in the big blind here, you're basically always defending. So, and yeah, and another thing too, like if somebody raises me from like the button or the small blind, I do like to raise these kind of hands up a lot. Kind of keeps players on their toes, and I just think it makes me a little bit more unpredictable. But like I said, you don't have to do what I do. I'm just saying it, you know. All right, I'm just going to defend here. Flop wasn't very good. Likely missed player 2 as well. The thing is, you know, we're still losing to ace highs, so it's kind of like, you know, sometimes it's just best to give it up instead of like trying to turn your hand into some kind of weird bluff to get somebody off of it, you know, when it doesn't make sense. So I just folded it. I think that was probably the disciplined thing to do. I don't know if bluffing really makes any sense there whatsoever, you know, because it didn't. So that's why I just folded it. And we dealt with it, okay? We dealt with it. Next time we had a king 7. And yeah, I do believe right after this one we're going to be getting into pocket queens. I just wanted to kind of segue, you know, everything that transpired before we got into queens. And it kind of happened pretty early in this one, you know. I don't think we've really had any big hands, just kind of bluffs with mediocre, kind of like garbage hands so far. All right, I defended here, and nothing. This is another spot. We got an early open raiser, earlier position raiser that, you know, likely has some kind of ace combo type of hand, maybe like a king queen, you know. So kind of just got to give this up. Jack 10 clubs would have been nice if we had that right here. That would have been a really nice one to have. But yep, folded it. Turn card. I don't think it was going to make a difference anyways. So, you know, we keep going here. And here we are. This should be it. Queens, what y'all have been waiting for, okay? Slowed this one down so I can kind of go over my thought process on it and why I made the play I did. And, yeah, you know, sometimes you kind of go with it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it is what it is, right? It's not like you could see the other player, you know what I mean? So you just kind of got to do your thing. And player 6 is, I think everybody's going to fold around to me, pretty sure. Player 6 was doing pretty good. He was actually, you know, up quite a bit. Excuse me. I was really kind of like looking for somebody to raise before it got to us so we can kind of kick it up here. Player 2, I'm pretty sure, is just going to muck it. And the thing about queens, a lot of the time, you know, and I see this all the time, you will be in situations where you're up against like an ace king, If you're like re-raising this hand, you do see it quite a bit, and it's just hard to know sometimes. But you know, yeah, player two is gonna fold, and we're gonna raise it up. And we will be going with the 1250 piece. Okay, standard button raise here. Our hand's pretty disguised too. All right, back to player five. Now, I don't know if player five played back at us here. I think maybe he did. And yeah, he is actually going to re-raise us here. I think he's going to get it up to like right around 60-ish, which to me, if he wants to go that big, I think we could just call here. We don't really need to re-raise this. We could, you know, if we have some kind of read on this guy, but I'm just going to make the call. And the flop, to me, actually wasn't, you know, terrible by any means, all right? He could be doing this with like a lot of ace kings, maybe some other mid pocket pairs like tens, maybe, right? But Jack 7-4 board, we're also blocking the hearts. This is actually not a bad flop for queens, okay? We're obviously going to be losing to aces and kings. I'm not going to exactly put that guy on one of those hands just yet. We're going to see what he does here, okay? I'm expecting him not to have a jack. If he's got pocket jacks, yeah, we're in a lot of hurt right here, but, you know, I'm still going to play this the way I'm going to play it, all right? And I'm going to assume at this point that maybe he's got a couple overcards like ace-king. He went pretty small on the sizing here for his continuation, so yeah, we're just going to call here. Could have raised it at this point, but like I said, it wasn't really sure just yet, so calling, I think, is the way I wanted to go with it. And the turn card was a jack, and I actually like that card a lot. As long as he doesn't have pocket jacks, which would just be a cooler anyways, and we're always going to get stacked. But I don't think this guy's got a jack. I don't see him re-raising, you know what I mean, with ace jack the way he did. River card was a queen. The nice thing about the river card was even if he's got ace king here, we know he doesn't have a flush, right? So he could have, I mean, we're blocking the flush, so I'm assuming he's going to go for something here if he's got ace king. And instead of folding this, which I thought about doing, right? I did think about it. I'm going to end up turning my hand into a bluff, right? That's basically what I'm going to do. So instead of just calling here, because it definitely feels like he probably has ace king, I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff representing either the flush or maybe a boat, I guess, or a hand like ace jack. Something like that. I was never putting this guy on a jack. That's the thing. And that's what was so confusing about this hand, right? Especially with his re-raise pre. Now, I don't even think he's going to think about this long. He's going to call us right away, and yep, we got stacked big time.